Hello and welcome back to the Blues Focus podcast, where we're joined by Michael from the Every Step Along the Way podcast team for tonight's preview of Saturday's away game versus Stoke City. So, Michael, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me, mate. You okay?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not too bad yourself?
Yeah, as I was saying before recording, mate, tired, but I'm fine.
Yeah, we do this for the love of the game, right? So here we are.
Sure do.
But speaking of the game, let's get through it. Let's see what we can get through. I know we only played less than a month ago, but just give us a brief recap of how's your season going so far.
Well, obviously, a change in managers means it couldn't have gone too well, I guess, up to now. It's just a shame, really, because I think earliest part of the season when everything kicked off, we were doing really well. I think Rotherham, we won 4-1 first game of the season. I think we beat Watford at home again the next home game. Everything was looking good. A couple of games in, we're second or third, I think it was, playing good football, attractive football, scoring goals, not conceding. Everything was going, perfectly to plan. And I think as the season's gone on, yes, we've had a lot of injuries, but who hasn't? I just think Alex Neil kind of lost his way, and I think he lost a bit of trust in the players that we had through the door. And unfortunately, it's one of them. It's like if the players lose faith in you, your time's up. And I'm not surprised he went. Excuse me. I'm not surprised he went in the end, but maybe a little bit surprised at how soon he went to a certain extent, having signed 18 players in the summer. So
a big recruitment drive for you to not last too long, but you've got Schumacher in now. So how are those players fitting tactically with the Stoke setup? Does it work with the players he's brought in and they kind of fit in, or how is that working for you?
You know what? I think the good thing is the players that we've kind of brought in haven't really been brought in by Alex Neil as such. We've kind of gone down, the whole director of football type route of recent, which, to be honest, has been something the club have been absolutely slammed for in recent years, giving managers too much power. So we're seeing that, and the players who actually we have in, I don't think we ever really doubted their ability. It was just Alex just wasn't getting the tune out of them, and Schumacher's come in and it absolutely transformed how we're playing. You look at training, the players are laughing and joking and having a great time. We're playing attractive football now. I mean, you guys saw us at your place, one of his first games. That's not how we were playing for a good chunk of this season. It is completely transformed. Not necessarily the formation. I think the formation's not really changed, but I think he's just give the players a new lease of life. And Berger, for example, which is probably our star midfielder right now, is a different player. Like, he is such a dangerous player, and he's just brought players like that to life again, who I think probably were, quite frankly, having enough.
It's quite different seeing how different managers do, because we've had something similar, obviously, with Wayne coming in. He just trashed our club. We were doing really well. Again, positive start to the season, sitting in 6th place. He come in, man management skills 0, and those players just didn't want to play for him, and you could see that in the results. They weren't getting behind the tactics that he was setting up, and whether he was running training trying to teach them or not is stories that we don't really know. But you have then someone like Tony Mowbray come in, who is then, I know it's only been 2 games, but the way he talks in interviews, he's got the fans going, okay, this is really good again. And just seeing the players, I've been at the last 2 games, Swansea and Hull, for the replay, which was freezing. But seeing the way the team are playing on that pitch is completely different. They're putting everything in. Baku got injured towards the end of the game the other day. He was struggling a bit. I think under Rooney, they're just going off, and then they're probably not returning for 6 to 8 weeks just because it might be something, and they didn't want to play. Where he was like, no, straight back on, and they managed around him. So hopefully I understand what you're saying about the Schumacher coming in and changing that. But what sort of formation is he playing? That's the...
He's playing like a 4-2-3-1 typically. very quickly becomes 4-3-3, and it's an attacking stance, as we know with that formations. Which he's very much like in your face, high pressure. You'll run around for 90 minutes. If you're not, you'll know about it. He, as a minimum, demands 100% effort. Like I said, which I know you should think, well, that's you paid thousands a week, you should do that. But we all know that we've seen players you can clearly tell aren't trying. And I think that was the main difference. Like I say, you start a season, everyone's playing for him. You see this lull, and you see the players just absolutely not giving a crap. That, to put it very simply, that's what it was. And then he comes in and again transforms. I think the situation with, like I say, with you and Rooney, I think the problem is that when the owners did that, obviously the players clearly liked John Eustace, obviously. So to do that, Rooney probably had never had a chance. I never rated him anyway. I think he's a joke of a manager. I really do. Him, Gerrard, Lampard, without their names, they wouldn't be anywhere near these clubs. And I think that's all it was about. So it's a shame about Eustace.
Yeah, just because you're a good player does not make you a good manager. There's a lot more to it.
Not.
And it was very bad. Like, that is, I've been a Birmingham City fan for a long time. I've been and watched lots and lots of games, and I've seen a lot of dire football under our football club, but his management and the games we were playing were up there with some of the worst I've ever seen, and it wasn't getting any better. We'd have like a 20-minute spell in a game where we looked really good, and then it just all fell apart again. We'd go like 2-0 up or 3-0 up or something, and then throw it all away. So
it's like us a few weeks back. There was no fight. I mean, I said to Dan on who we did the podcast with, I was like, the way you beat Birmingham, just run at them, put a bit of pressure on, they'll fold like a pack of cards. And that's genuinely exactly what happened. Yes, we took our chances well, but we barely had to work to beat you the other week. And I think with Mowbray, I think the one thing you've got a manager who will demand respect. And I think you'll pull away from where you are now. I really do. You've got a decent manager in, and then next season, hopefully push on again.
Yeah, I was looking at the stats actually from our Boxing Day game, and even though it ended 3-1, shots, very, very similar amount of shots on target, very, very similar. Possession was 51-49. Like, the passing was very similar. So you were just clinical, and that's what we've been lacking a lot of. Someone to score goals. We've always fundamentally relied on one person to score goals, and that's what we've done. But this season we've got Dembele kicking in, Stansfield, Jordan James scoring goals, Koji, Miyoshi getting in. Like, our front line is quite good when they're playing the right football for them. And you're right about getting in our face, especially under Rooney, that they just didn't want the ball. And it was as simple as that. So putting them under pressure when someone don't want the ball, they're giving it away and just kicking it. Where under Mowbray, we've seen them passing it around, and that those same defenders look a lot more solid again all of a sudden, because he's also playing front foot football. So I think it's going to be quite a interesting tactic game. Whether he comes in and does that, he mentioned in the press conference today that maybe we do a slight adjustment to certain teams. Whether that means maybe sitting offers a little bit more against you guys, we don't know. But Schumacher's fundamentally known for being a tight defensive line anyway, isn't he? But then I was looking at your goals you've scored recently. You haven't really scored that many goals in last five games. So that's a promising sign from us. You're not really conceding goals, but if we can maybe take some of the chances that we can get, then we can come out. In terms of like what players you think will push us to the limit, obviously you mentioned one already. Is there anybody else that we should be almost worried of?
I think should be probably worried about the likes of Ryan May, however you want to pronounce his name. No one has actually decided how his name's meant to be pronounced. But I'd say he's probably someone to watch now, not because he's going to go and skin you and have a chance to score a hat trick. He doesn't do that. He's very much like, if you think about Harry Kane, he comes short, lays the ball off and spins. That's basically his game. I mean, again, against you, remember that flick that he did around the corner? Yeah. That's him. And he's physical, he can finish. But you're not going to find him probably in the 18-yard box with the ball at his feet, ready to take a shot. That's not how it's going to happen. So I'd say Ryan is definitely one to watch for that. I think if you keep him quiet and you stop him playing, we might find a little bit at times difficult to kind of manoeuvre. So I'd say he's definitely one to watch. Now, Lewis Baker, who's been out injured for us for a while, I'm not sure if you saw the free kick the other day that he did against Rotherham. One of the best free kicks you're going to see in the Championship in terms of pinpoint accuracy. Like, it was just one of them where about 20 yards out, bent it, top corner, keeper's got no chance. But he's been coming in, and Baker's a great player when he's on form. You know, he will run that midfield with Wouterberger. And again, it's whether you're going to be able to keep Berger, Baker, Vidigal, who is, as you've seen, is clinical when he gets a chance. So one thing about him, he might not run the game, but if you give him a chance 16, 18 yards out, he's probably going to score. So I think the good thing is I can turn around and say we've got a number of players to be worried about. It just depends on whether you can keep them all quiet. I think that's one of the main things. But at the same time, our home form, I mean, pre-Schumacher, obviously, it hasn't been great at all. So we're not quite firing at home yet, which might work to your advantage.
I mean, we're not firing away either, so it doesn't bode well.
That's a 0-0, isn't it?
It's a 0-0 draw all day, isn't it? But it's with the I think the midfield is going to be quite interesting as to how we line up versus you, whether we go for the on the front foot attacking and try and counter and really make it a midfield battle. Your strikers can finish, our strikers can finish, and it's just seeing how that'll work. Do we set up as the away side to defend a little bit more and allow you to do that attacking, or do we really take it to you and see how it?
I would probably say to you, come at us, because if you do get that first goal, the one thing we've not been able to do, and this is not just this year, this is for a few years, if we go 1-0 down at home, we cannot break teams down. Because if you get that one goal and you put two banks of four behind it, we never, and I'm not saying just like once or twice, we never come back from that. I don't know what it is. It's a mental block or pressure from the home fans or whatever it is. But that's probably the concern for me. If we go 1-0 down, we might struggle to bring it back. Because it's a shame, but that's just how it is.
I'd have said that was the same as Birmingham have been for a long time. We've actually seen in Tony Mowbray's first and only two games, we've scored 95 and 94-minute goals. One to bring the draw, one to get the win. So they're really fighting to the end and pushing on. And as a fan base, we're not really getting to a point where we think, oh, we're not going to score now. Where under Rooney, we were expecting 3-0 loss most games, if you ask most fans. But it's a solid point that he's brought in with the mentality that he's changed. So just fight to the end, keep going, and see where we can get to. Talking about mentality, what is like the fans' mentality of your side coming into this? How are you feeling about coming to Blues?
You know what? I think every Stoke fan will expect us to win. The way that Schumacher's transformed us, we don't get new manager bounces ever. We've had 5 or 6 managers, I've lost count, in the last few years, and they never come in. They don't win games. They lose a lot. We haven't lost under Schumacher yet. I mean, we're not going to count the cup against Brighton. I think we played a half a second string. It's Brighton who played a full strength. So whatever, we're not counting that. So in terms of the league, like he's inspired everyone. I think again, he's got the team fighting. And like you say, you don't have to be the best team in the league. You don't have to have the best players. But if you've got a bunch of players that are going to fight for you, every fan will take it. You ain't going to win them all, but again, he leaves everything on the pitch. He's a nice guy. Like his interview, he's one of the nicest managers I've seen in terms of like press conferences and his mannerisms and the training when you watch it. So you're going to find that the fans are coming into this expecting a win, which is another reason why if you can get in our faces and go 1-0 up and frustrate us, the Stoke fans turn very, very quickly. You'll see it turn, but not to the point where they'll be booing. There'll be absolute silence in the stadium. So again, you talk about how to get at us. Oh, sorry, say again.
You'll only hear the Blues fans singing. That'll be the way. The away support we have is quite loud when they want to be. So
our away support is fantastic. I think that just goes for most clubs, isn't it? Great away support, but at home it's like a morgue at times. Like if you think back to how good our fans were, I mean, we were like physically we were the loudest ever, weren't we? When it got rated, we're probably one of the quietest now. But away from home, we're amazing. Like I don't know what it is.
It's the proper fans all in one area. That's what it is. The away fans are
hardcore people this time of year without shirts on.
Yeah. That's just the way it goes sometimes, isn't it? That's football, I guess. Let's start wrapping it up. What's your score predictions of the game, and what sort of game do you think it will be?
I keep going back and forward with this. I'm going to predict a win because I think it's wrong if I can't come on a podcast and predict the team to lose, especially when we haven't lost yet. So I'm going to go 2-1 Stoke. I think we'll go 1-0 up. You'll pull it back. Stansfield will get a goal for you, and we'll nick it towards the end. I think it will be a close run game. I think it'll be very hard fought. There won't be much given away. I do think probably one Achilles heel that you probably should try and take advantage of is corners. We're very lapse at corners. We've conceded so many from set pieces, corners, long balls, etc. If you take advantage of them, you'll nick it. And I think one thing I would say is you talked about where you should come at us and sit back. Yeah. We win more games without possession than we ever do with it. So I think actually, if you let us have the ball, if we don't make the breakthrough, we might get frustrated. Whereas if you come at us, at the same time, like that will open up gaps and we'll hit you with the pace that we have got. So it's going to be such an interesting game. I do think both teams are going to score, but as a Stoke fan, I'm going to say we're going to nick it. So and you'll say the other way around, which is fine.
I think and I hope we'll have a reverse of the Boxing Day fixture, 3-1 Blues. And that's hopeful. I really am. I'm one of those fans. But we've been creating really good chances. We should have been 4 or 5 up against Swansea at half time. We had some good chances against Hull. We're just not scoring them at the moment. I think with the confidence of that win from Hull, even if it was a cup game or not, that confidence is really going to push them forward. I think if we can break the deadlock, I think things might come flowing, and I don't think Tony Mowbray will sit back on a 1 or a 2-0. If we go up, then I think he'll go for it and really try and prove a point. So I'm optimistic, but we'll see. It's going to be a really good game either way. I think it's going to be a bit of a battle, but we're both predicting goals, which is a good thing. So
it's going to be 0-0. It's absolutely nailed on 0-0. Now we've done that.
We're going to have the most boring game anybody ever seen.
No shots on target from either side.
Yeah, just passing it around the midfield. Just that really good midfield battle, though.
Yeah.
Michael, thank you for coming on. If you could just let us know where we can find you guys in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you search on, obviously, Every Step Along the Way, you'll get it on Spotify, Apple, Google, every possible place that you can get your podcast. It's available everywhere there. But yeah, no, look, I really appreciate you having me on, mate. It's interesting. The good thing is we'll be speaking again next season because you'll definitely be in the league, as will we. So we're okay now. But let's hope we both have better seasons next year, eh?
Yeah, and hopefully we have nice solid starts and then ends even, and then come around to next year really having a go at each other where we got tactics in place and more than a month's worth of knowledge. Base our foundations on. But thank you, Michael, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Blues fans, you can find us, as always, on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Give us a follow. The chat doesn't end here. If you want to let us know your score predictions in the comments, we're happy to see what people are thinking. Is anybody as optimistic as me? Who knows? But for now, I've been your host, Kieran. Thank you for today's preview, and as always, keep right on.